Welcome to my daily review. The date is April 9th. It's a Tuesday, and you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which was up 53 points today, or 0.32%. Volume was 7% below the average daily volume the past 50 sessions. It was more than yesterday or Friday, but below that reversal day on Thursday, which I still think weighs on investors' mind. This big reversal bar where it closed below the 21. Now it has the Nasdaq. You're looking at the Nasdaq here, and it's been below the 21 EMA for 4 sessions in a row. Then yesterday the low was above, and today it traded below it but closed above the 10 and the 21 today. You can see there that it closed 0.3% above its 10 EMA and 0.5% above the 21 and 1.8% above the 50 simple moving average. I just wanted to show, put some things in perspective. If you're looking at a monthly chart, we had this, a big rally here after the 3 legs down, the 5-month rally, November, December, January, February, and the last week of March and the first 2 weeks of April, we've seen a little bit of selling here. It's down, 72 points or nearly 0.5% this month. But if you look at it, it's just like a blip on the radar. You can barely even see this little bit of selling here, this little bit of correction. So just keep it in perspective. You need to be patient. Yeah, I mean, this week it's up a little bit this week. So it sold off the last week of March and then the first week of the second quarter, which was April 1 through 5. And this week it's up a little bit, but man, it was really deceptive today, I'll tell you, because what you saw was the large cap technology stocks just painting the tape essentially, and a lot of the winners just sold off today. It could be, tax reasons that for the selling. But if we take a look at the RSP, which is the S&P with the equal weight without the well, just it's equal weight for the S&P 500 equal weight, and you can see that it's pulled back to its 21 as well, and closed today above the moving averages. It's 2.8% above the 21, so it's doing a little better than the Nasdaq. Anyway, I'm going to get to some stocks today because we like trading and owning and buying and selling stocks. And Tesla was one that was up today. This looks to me like, short covering or bottom fishing. It's currently, in a real steep downtrend when all the moving averages are, trading lower. And it's getting a little bit of a bounce here off that low of 160 from Friday in the first 2 sessions this week. We'll see if it can clear this 50 simple moving average here. It's 3% below it. So yeah, just a little bottom fishing and maybe perhaps some short covering in Tesla. Apple was up today as well, 0.75%. This thing looks like it's trying to make a bottom. I know that there was some concerns about its iPhone sales in China, but this is clearly in a downtrend. The 50, crossed below the 200, and there's no way I'm going to get involved in something like that. But this is the type of stuff that will make the paints the tape a little bit and makes the Nasdaq appear a lot stronger than it was. There's a lot of damage underneath the surface with a ton of different groups, and I think it's probably just some tax selling. We got a pair of taxes here. I just got my tax bill. Uncle Sam's being he wants his money. This is Google. They made a lot of news this morning, deals with ARM and just a lot of Palo Alto Networks and the cybersecurity news, and it was up today 1.13%. And this is these are the stocks that are going to make the Nasdaq, and the S&P look a little better than it really is underneath the surface. Like I said, pretty rough. This Microsoft's just going sideways. They report earnings on the 23rd. Amazon was up today. Now this is not bottom fishing. This is a strong stock. Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, they look fine, trending in the right direction. It was up 0.25% today, and that's why the Nasdaq was up. NVDA was down. It was a really silly report that Intel launched a chip, but And then Microsoft and Amazon are going to launch their own, chips. But by the time they do that, they're going to be so far behind NVIDIA. NVIDIA's light years ahead of these guys. But, like I said, some, profit taking, tax loss selling. And for this to come down to the 50 would be normal action after this run from, 500 and 974, had that reversal on March 8th. And now it's just pulling back. So if it pulls back to the 50, which is going up about $5 a day, 808, yesterday 803, 798. So, $5 tomorrow, I don't know, 813, 818, 820 by the end of the week. I could see that pulling back to 820 by the end of the week. And, maybe just resting there like our friend AMD did, right? It just squatted there and then sold off. And now it's below its moving averages. AMD looks terrible, even though it was up today. That's pretty rough. I did mention Intel, they launched a chip that's allegedly a competitor, but yeah, this is in a clear downtrend. It's even below the 200 now. All moving averages are just, curling lower. So it looks real bad for Intel. All right, that's enough of that. I got to talk a little bit about the, we're seeing a lot of early morning activity where the Nasdaq gaps higher and then sells off. And, you see in pre-market, you see stocks like ARM. I was watching this one today. I was on our ready list, and had it, I think, about 129 buy point, and 128.95 or something like that. But anyway, it was like right around the buy point, 129 in pre-market. So I thought, I'm going to take a look at this one, and it was really strong. And then some people texted me saying, it's 133, you got to get in. I'm saying, heck no, I'm not buying something up that hot. In pre-market, and what happened, they gunned it up to 135, right? Then instantly sold to the retail folks. It doesn't take much for them, any institution to, drive up a number in pre-market because there's very little volume. So, this thing was up, and then, the retail jumps in and they just sell to retail. And that's how you get suckered. There's your rug pull. And it just sold off flat all day, down a couple of bucks. I mean, not the end of the world, but it's just a game that's played, and, they suck you in the morning. That's why I always say to wait like 30, 60, 90 minutes just to see, let it show you the daily range. And you can see the daily range there was really down here, right? Below 128. And another stock that I was watching for this morning was ServiceNow. Same kind of deal where they gun it at the open and then just sell it right off. This thing really sold off hard and had a little buying into the close, but down nearly $4. After being up, they gun it in the morning and they just sold to retail, which is pretty sad. So that's why I just say you got to be careful, you got to be patient, work for your proper buy points. But still, it's consolidating in a base. It looks great. ARM looks great too. It's just the market's not cooperating now. And if you have, which I have had, like, 2 or 3 or 4 of your last trades in a row are going against you and you sell out, that you need to take a time out. What I did is I sold a ton of stock today because they're not working. And so I'm not going to fight the tape. Some of the stocks that I like that have been ripping, this is Comfort Systems, and it's been in this little shelf, still is, but it sliced its 21 today with volume, nearly 5%. There's a lot of profit there to take. So that's why I think, some of these stocks that have been big winners, they're taking, just taking profits. AAON is another one that was on the list, and wow, it just pulled right back to a buy point there, 88.78. Was up 93 yesterday and today and just sold off. So that's unfortunate. MOD, but these things have had big gains. So there's a lot of profit to take. And that's why, part of the reason I'm thinking that a lot of the stocks that had big runs are seeing some profit taking. Speaking of which, SMCI, they announced new products today. And this thing was being gunned in pre-market as well. There it is, new products. Woo, we're going someplace. Nope. 15 minutes in, it was at 9:37. And then you look, what, an hour later, an hour into the session, we're down at 881, 9:37 to 881. So, 56 points in less than an hour. So that's just the type of market we're in now. So you got to be careful. This is treacherous trading. And like I said, I sold this. I'm out of here. There's no way I'm gonna if you've had a big gains, from the rally, I showed the Nasdaq was I'll go back to the Nasdaq. Was 12.5 and it went up to 16.5. Okay, 4,000 points. We made a ton of money in here. I'm not interested in giving it back in a choppy market. That's just me. That's the way I'm wired. I know that. I just can't stand to give anything back. So I'd rather just, sit out, regroup, and find a spot to get into something than sit there and try to fight the tape and try to fit a square peg in a round hole because my stocks aren't working. So I realize that. So it's time to go. There's some real losers here. Retail's really getting hit. And of course, Lululemon. I mean, this thing is just, ooh, man, this is rough. Nike, this is like a Tesla or Apple, trying to find a bottom here. A couple of bottom fishers are short covering, but these things look terrible. Crocs was really strong, and all of a sudden it just fell out. What is it, down like 6 sessions in a row? Sliced to 10, sliced to 21. And there's no buyers here. So it went from what, 145? It was up 140, 146, and today was down 125. So 21 points in 6 sessions. No, thank you. I mean, this is why I say if you made some bucks, man, I'm not giving it back. Abercrombie and Fitch, once again, this looks bad. Below the 50 now. Just maybe it had its big run. People call this a double top. You can call it whatever you want. It's just below its 50, and I don't like it. So I'm not even entertaining that stuff. Couple of retail names that I'm intrigued with is On Holdings. This one's holding its own, no pun intended. Just traded down to its 50, found support, and that's what you want to see. But the thing about the bounce is it's got to bounce through moving averages. Yeah, it bounced 1.484% yesterday, 1.6 today, but it can't drive through the moving averages, and it needs to do it with a little bit of power there, and it just doesn't have it. Celsius is holding its own as well. Now it's trying to rally back through its moving averages, and today, it did so. So that's definitely one that I have on my ready list that I like. It's got the 44% here. So it's the 8 week hold rule. If you're into such things, I think it's only been like 3 or 4 weeks here if I zoom in. So the move is more than 20% in like 3 weeks, and then now it's been 3.5 weeks. Okay, so got a long way to go for Celsius. What's the other one? Oh, ELF. ELF, I told you yesterday that I thought it was it's overdone. I went to show you the stochastics on this, and it hasn't been this low or slow since the last time it made this base. So I'm thinking that Celsius, I think, fund managers came in Monday and just said, hey, this thing is way overdone. These guys are taking market share. Ulta Beauty might be having trouble, but I don't know. I think ELF, I'm not saying it's going to rip right back through its moving averages because you can see this, the short-term moving averages are trading through the 50, but I would think that this thing is going to start curling up and just forming a little base here from that 221 on March 4th. So it's already been a month forming a base. So we'll see what happens with ELF. But yeah, the stochastics are showing that it's probably near short-term lows. Anyway, okay, the drug stocks. I'm expecting Novo to bounce off its 50. This is a breakout here and it runs up. Now it pulls back to its 50 for the first time. Then it rallies back up to its short-term moving averages, 10 EMA, and gets rejected there and pulls back to the 50. So now it's just kind of trading tight and pinching in. I'm real curious to see how this resolves. Well, we'll just wait till after the tax season. What is it, April 15th? And see if this thing doesn't find some buyers here pretty soon. Kind of surprised by the weakness in this stock. Lilly pulled back to the 50 for the first time as well, just like Novo. So I'm watching those two drug stocks. Not really much else in drugs. I mean, there's a couple of them, but not worth mentioning here. I'm going to move on because the data centers, once again, there's a lot of profits here to take, and people are taking profits. That's Vertiv, CEG. I mean, General Electric's had a big move. You saw some selling today. Even the great Eaton, ETN. It's been a monster move and now it's sliced its 10, just weakness, so a lot of people getting chopped up in winners. So, you got to be careful out there. Qantas Services been a big winner, pulled back, sliced its 10 today. So, yeah, my stocks are sucking bad. Okay, the crypto names, MicroStrategy. This looks a little bit like SMCI, just a little bit behind, but slices 21 today, and it made this big move from 1999, call it 2000, and just that big large number was a source of resistance, and it's traded down to 1375 from 2000. So you could do the math there. That's over 30% move to the downside, and it's 28% off of its high right now where it closed today. All right, let me see here. Oh, Coinbase. This one's getting wild too. Broke out, pulled back to the 21, and then bounced, and now it's pulled back again to the 21. Maybe it'll find support here. We'll see. It keeps, pull back here, found support, and here bounce back. This is why I say this is really choppy stuff. If you're into crypto and buying this is CLSK. This just looks like a sell-a-thon here. Sliced its 50 yesterday and followed through to the downside a little bit today, only 3 cents, but that looks terrible. For the crypto names, okay, so what is working? Geez, enough of this bad stuff. The home builders, had a decent day. This is DR Horton just kind of going sideways here. We're going to hear earnings from these guys here on the 18th. Their earnings are coming up. Lennar, they just reported recently. These are kind of interest rate sensitive. So, the movement and the inflation data here coming up this week will impact these stocks a little bit. That's Lennar, and then Pulte Home. Yeah, I mean, just going sideways. This is a sideways choppy market. That looks a lot like, the index. So to me, it's been a really, tough go here, since the middle of March. Anyway, Southern Copper, this thing blasted off. The price of oil, the commodities are up, like 20% since the start of the year, gold and silver, but some of these stocks are really just ramping, and you cannot chase this stuff here. This is a commodity stock that pays a dividend. This thing's going parabolic. There's no way in heck I could chase that, even though it's up how many weeks in a row? It's got the up more than 20% in 3 weeks, so it's got the 8-week hold rule. But if you didn't buy it, I can't see buying this year. I really can't. But they're strong. They're strong stocks, just recognizing strength there. Freeport McMoran, this one was running in pre-market. I believe I cited this one on my report, and it had a nice day-to-day gap higher, up nearly 3%. These things are strong. This was Alcoa. I had this on my ready list last week. I took it off because I think it's already a little extended. And then the one I have on this week isn't going anywhere. This is this is how my luck's going. But I expected this, because it ran up the right side of that base too quickly. So it needs to pull back to a moving average, shake some people out. But I still like the stock. It just yeah, it needs a shakeout. It needs to form a handle. It made that move, up the right side of that base, from 39 up near 50 or even above 50, and it made it in a hurry. So it needs to pull back and shake some fools out. Yeah, $50.43, and today closed at 47.90. So I'm still watching that one. I don't expect it to go parabolic like Southern Copper or Freeport McMoran, but just acknowledging strong stocks. And that's it for me today. Just hang in there, be patient. If the things that you're buying are not working for you, like I hear a lot of people saying, "Wow, I bought it and it went up and I didn't take profit, and now I'm underwater," and then I sell it and then it moves higher. And so that's just a choppy market, and that's kind of to be expected in a choppy market. So I would say I play smaller. I play faster, so I take my profits faster. If I have anything, I take it. So, and then once again, I'm not going to give back gains from, November to March. That was hard work for, 5 months of gains, and I'm just not going to give it back. So that's just the way I'm wired. And I'll sit out for a little bit if I have to, because a lot of stuff's not working for me. Anyway, that's it for me, except for I lied. I don't know, they're great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing, and that is I'm looking for some stocks that have been beaten up, oversold, unloved, that are quality stocks. And I think Palo Alto's fits in that category. I don't know if it's making a bottom here. It sure looks like it. It hit that 260 following its earnings report. And then it traded up to its moving average and got rejected. It continues to get rejected. But I'm going to watch this and see if it can. It got some love today. It was up nearly 4% on that news with Google. I'm not saying buy it here, not at all, but I'm watching it and see if it can, form a base. I'm definitely interested if it can form a base here. Palo Alto's been a monster stock. You can see the earnings line. This thing's a powerhouse. It is a late stage base, but just something that I'm watching. Also, Zscaler, same type of deal. You can see the earnings line is going straight up. These are powerhouse earnings plays. Pulled back to the 200. Let me go to the daily here. Yeah, pull back to the 200. I think it'll bottom here around the 200. Once again, I'm not saying buy right here, I'm not a bottom fisher, but if this thing starts curling up, and trading above the moving averages, then I'm a little more interested, if it can show some strength. Sentinel-1 is part of this group as well. Sold off after earnings and now trying to make a bottom. I'm more interested in Palo Alto and Zscaler, but this is just another one in the group that's doing, trying to form a bottom. Datadog, another one here that's consolidating in the base. We can see that it's having trouble. It's sold off forever, and had trouble, had this cup with handle and thought it was going to really run, but it didn't. Now it's consolidating in the base. So maybe it's going to provide an opportunity for us. You can see the earnings line heading straight up and 9.5% off of its high. Had a 3 weeks tight. I really don't care for 3 weeks tight when it's, down below. I like it when it's, making new highs, then goes tight. But it is 3 weeks tight here. It just shows tight trading and, flattening out. And maybe the sellers are done there at that 118.40 spot. So ESTC, another one that reported pretty good earnings and sold off, trying to form a bottom now below its moving averages, short-term moving averages there. You can see a lot of sellers here, but the earnings line is heading straight up. Like I said, they reported a good quarter, but 28% off of the high. Not the end of the world. This is just stuff that I'm watching, folks. I'm not saying buy this right now. It's just stuff that I'm watching. Even Snowflake. I am watching Snowflake. Hit that 151 and then retested it last week during that reversal on Thursday. And maybe that's, like a double bottom here. I'm just keeping my eyes open, having an open mind. Trying to skate to where the puck may be going and not, I'm not going to chase the miners and oil and gas. I'm not going to do that. And hopefully the commodities calm down, because my history tells me that, when the commodities rip like that, that's usually not good for our growth stocks. Anyway, AAHR reported after the bell. They just kind of met expectations, and I saw it was selling off a little bit after hours, but this is one that's a little tethered to the EV industry. And we know the demand in electric vehicles are waning a little bit. Yeah, it's down nearly 4%. But I'm looking forward to earnings. Finally, we're going to hear from Delta tomorrow, and then later on in the week, Wells Fargo. The financials have been doing okay and holding up. JP Morgan, which is one of the stronger financials. Citigroup reports this week. So that's what's going to drive the stocks. Once we get past this inflation data and this tax selling, we can get into earnings season, and that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's really how your stocks are going to appreciate or decline, depending upon how the reports come in. Netflix reports the 18th, so it's coming up, folks, and that's something to look forward to. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.